You know, this is going to be the 5th year in a row where I have a retrospective video near the end of the year. It's kind of impressive, really. I really would have thought that there would have only been like, what, 2 or 3 at this point, but no, it's 5. Kind of goes to show how quickly the years go by. But yeah, speaking of that, I think I really need to reinvent this presentation style. It's starting to get a bit repetitive and boring. So, kablam! New presentation style. So yeah, that's all I really have to mention. Let's get on to the video with the intro. Sup everyone, Spacey here, and as you could probably tell from the intro, there have been a few renovations here. Don't worry, this will all be exclusively for the end of the year videos, but I've been feeling like adding more spice to these end of year videos for a while now, and it seems like this is the perfect opportunity to do so, considering this is the 5th one and all. We aren't just changing visuals, however, as compared to 2023, I've got a lot on my mind in 2024, including new progress, some things I want to say, and other things too. Firstly, let's see where social media is at in 2024. And, on Twitter at the very least, it's remained actually not that bad. The political equalization of 2023 really did improve the site quite a bit. Comparing 2020 to this year is night and day with how much better it is now. Though I guess to be fair, 2020 had more baggage, but as you could clearly tell, the site's been actually kind of enjoyable to go on. Now, Twitter still has its issues, like the grifters for instance, including its own founder, Elon Musk, who is still a pretty horrible human being. So yeah, despite what everyone else with these ultra-exaggerated viewpoints say about the site, Twitter's actually still a pretty nice place, all things considered. If I were to compare Twitter's current state right now, I would probably say it would have to be post-Exodus Tumblr. There's still some absolute dregs left over from the really bad people. In Tumblr's case, it's kinda sadly been a bit ingrained, and for Twitter, it's still some people who are still trying to milk the Exodus cow for whatever that's worth, and AstroTurf people who have been artificially added on here, but comparing it to what came before, and it's actually been pretty nice overall. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I think now is a pretty good time to join the site, if you really are skeptical. Admittedly, however, I'm not exactly going to be endorsing or god forbid shilling the site at all. Elon Musk is enough to turn people away, and it's understandable why you wouldn't join the site because of him. To be fair though, it's kind of a Mark Zuckerberg situation where despite a horrible human being running the site, you should still check out the site, and if you really don't like it, I think you should have more reasons other than the meanie guy running the site. I certainly know I didn't sign up for him. So yeah, those are my modern day thoughts on Twitter. If you're still wondering why I still use the site entering into 2025, well, now you know. This is a more generalist view of why I'm still on the site. Some of it I could go into more detail about, but that would get into territory I would not really feel comfortable talking about on this channel. I've tried it before in previous yearly retrospectives, and to say the very least, they're pretty cringy. I don't want to dwell about that though, as there's other things to talk about. Like that hip new butterfly site that came after the bird died. Yep, it's Blue Sky. If you've been around the block in terms of YouTubers or even just some regular Twitter users, you might have seen them promote their Blue Sky accounts. Some even permanently moved there, which brings up a second question. Will I ever move to Blue Sky? The short answer, no. The long answer,
no.
Okay, I'll actually provide a detailed explanation. The first of many reasons why I don't like Blue Sky is the user base. You know how I said that there's been a lot of equalization in the Twitter user base? Well, that's because a lot of the worst pugnates decided to move to Blue Sky. If you are in need of quirky, ultra-biased, fear-mongering garbage made in the absolute worst faith, well, you know where to go. I know a lot of social media websites have this, and I do mean a lot, but with Twitter, despite it probably being more inflammatory, the site is so balanced that everything gets called out, and everyone is forced to debate each other, which is really healthy and creates a lot of great discussion. And if misinformation gets really bad, the community notes are always there to clear it up. They even go against Elon Musk a lot of the time, which is absolutely hilarious to me. Blue Sky, on the other hand, doesn't even really have a community notes feature from what I can tell, let alone a user base that's able to properly debate with others. This is already bad enough, but what ultimately pushes Blue Sky over the edge for me is just how much of a hug box it is. Blue Sky is essentially a clique that you have to rigorously follow, or else you'll be bashed in by the community. There's no room for variety. And if any sort of variety comes to the platform, they get put on their fancy little block list feature. Yes, this is an official feature that Blue Sky has. I already hate the idea of blocklist already, especially on Twitter, but Blue Sky integrating into its own platform really doesn't send a good message to me. It only really confirms the idea that this site's a hug box, and honestly, it's probably going to stay that way and get a lot worse as time goes on. If you ever heard about the downfall of Reset Era, it's basically going to be like that. That's what I'm predicting anyway. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm never going to be joining Blue Sky. There's other reasons why Blue Sky sucks too, like how underdeveloped it is, to the point where videos and GIFs couldn't even be put onto the site normally for a long ass time. Though even if those issues get fixed, the inherent user base is just completely awful to me, and I also think it doesn't solve the big issues Twitter has. Which makes me smoothly transition to my next point about social media. That being the perpetual search for a so-called perfect social media site, and the nature of constantly jumping between social media platforms. If this is a truth nuke to you, well, to say the very least, I had to learn the same thing, so it's important to learn now rather than remain ignorant. So, let me just say that there will never be a perfect social media site, and trying to search for one is a lost cause. The only exception I can think of at the top of my head is Newgrounds, and even then, that's mostly because it's very hyper-specific towards artists and other creators. It also has the perfect combination of being independently funded while also being popular, which is pretty unrealistic for most social media sites. I understand that a lot of big sites don't exactly care for their user base, but I honestly feel like if you're still on the platform, you should just learn to cope, seethe, and compromise rather than trying to find an alternative that will inevitably be a lot worse than the site you decide to run away from. A lot of these alternative sites just aren't that stable and are very underdeveloped. I should know from experience. I tried Pillow Fort. I'm not trying to say that Consume Corporation submit to them. Hell fucking no. All I'm really trying to say is to learn to compromise and actually boycott on the site itself, rather than trying to search for something which will inevitably fail. Seriously though, it's the exact same cycle every time. The site starts to get hyped up because it's seen as a killer, the site's foundation starts to crack, and then it inevitably falls out of relevance. And when the site does fall out of relevance, you're back on the exact same platform where you started. I think it's even worse for social media alternatives because everyone just seems to have the same idea that they'll fix the issues and that this time it'll be perfect, when in reality it'll be more about the individual itself rather than the social media site that controls them. Honestly though, if you hate Twitter for its toxicity or whatever, then honestly, I think you should just quit social media in general rather than moving to another platform, which will inevitably repeat the same issues. In all honesty, it's a lot better if you actually escape the cycle, rather than going into yet another cycle under the pretense that the cycle will actually end, when in reality, it'll just keep continuing. If I ever get so sick of the social media user base that I just can't stand them, quitting is just what I'll honestly do. Now, I still do enjoy Twitter a lot, so I'm not leaving anytime soon, but when push comes to shove, I'm not going to be going anywhere else. Microblogging would just not be for me anymore. So yeah, to conclude the social media segment, I'll just recap what I have to say about what my feelings are. Twitter has been pretty fun thanks to its newfound variety. Blue Sky is a cult and I'm never going to join it. And if I ever do leave social media, I'm actually going to be leaving. My god, did I have a lot to talk about. We still have a lot to talk about here, but I'm at least glad we're outside of that neck of the woods. So yeah, what videos did I make this year? Just like in the last 2 years, I've only released 2 videos, but I've been really happy with how they've been turning out. Let's start with the video on the top 10 fried chili cheese dog videos, because, honestly, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out despite it being a quick project. It was pretty refreshing doing another top 10 list because it was a pretty simple and effective goal for me, thus keeping my motivation rather high throughout the entire project. It was also very satisfying for myself to get a project done in a quick amount of time rather than taking months upon months. It just helps a lot with the self-confidence, you know? I also really love the script and the presentation I did for the video too, which really helped matters. It was a kinda out there subject for my channel, so I'm very glad it did pretty well overall. Hopefully I can fit more smaller, more experimental videos throughout this channel, since I honestly think these are pretty fun experiments to do. So, in the end, I think this video was a very successful experiment, if it really encouraged me to do these projects more. Moving on to the second video of the year, Donkey Kong Country 2, and my god, this is probably the best video I ever made. Like, I don't think I'll be able to top this for a long time. The passion oozing from this video alone probably makes it one of my favorite videos of all time, but I also genuinely did a great job at presenting the topic too. The video also had a way better script than the first Donkey Kong Country review. Like, it's night and day really. The Donkey Kong Country reviews have really helped me find my groove in terms of video game reviews, and man, I'm really happy to see the quality improve so much. I know I'm just gushing about this video, but like, what else is there to say? I really feel like you should just watch the video. I'm genuinely that proud where I could just present the video on its own without need to explain how I feel about it. And honestly, if there's anything I want to take away from 2024, it's just the Donkey Kong Country 2 review. It's honestly that good. But yeah, I guess we're done with the videos now, and time to move on to the artwork. Not gonna lie, I don't know how much I could really say about the artwork honestly. Ever since 2022, I've been steadily improving my artwork, and yep, 2024 keeps the trend going. Albeit I haven't really produced as much as I would hope for this year, mostly because my motivation for drawing has been rather sporadic. I think I'd just rather do more video projects compared to art projects, which is kinda sad because I do have some great ideas for my characters for instance, and there's been some fan art I've really been wanting to draw. But alas, hopefully in 2025 I could get more motivated for art. One thing I've been pretty proud of art-wise this year is how experimental I'm willing to get. For instance, the visuals of this video. Or even the Anton Blast art collab I did with some people over at the Summit Sphere forums. I'm very happy I'm able to get my feet wet in more projects, and I'm happy I'm able to diversify my skills more. Probably my favorite experiment I'm doing so far though has to be the stuff I've been doing in Blender. Hopefully I'll be finishing up my first model in 2025 and I'll release it, because I might be the natural at more low poly models if I'm being honest. So I'll just say stay tuned for that. That's all I really want to say about art really. One more thing before I move on though. I'm still going to be doing the putting the art you did into a grid meme, just like in previous years, but I'm not exactly going to be putting that much detail into it. I don't know, I just don't feel like I really have much to say about the art I made this year, or even future years really. I feel like as my art's improved over the years, I think I have a lot less to truly say on it. Compare that to videos where I do have a lot to say even after a video releases, but art isn't exactly like that for me anymore. I also think making a description for every single month entry is pretty goddamn tedious, and I kind of want to lighten the workload on that, so that's why you're not seeing it this year. Anyways, continuing from here, I actually have some future video projects I really want to talk about because I've actually been making solid progress on videos. As I mentioned in the top 30 Donkey Kong Country songs video, the Donkey Kong Country 3 review will release in 2025, and yep, solid progress has been made on that front. I finished recording footage of the Super Nintendo version a while ago, and now I need to record the Game Boy Advance version. Hopefully recording will be starting as soon as the video is uploaded. The script has also gotten pretty far too, so expect around a late winter, early spring release for that video. Next up will be the next episode of Spacey Critiques. I won't mention the individual in question, but if you know about Super Shrimp's free games, you should know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's a bit oddly specific to a friend group, but that's the closest thing I'll give to a hint for now. Hopefully that video will release during the summer. After both of those videos release, things will be a bit more uncertain in terms of the schedule, but hopefully I'll at least get one more video out for the year. So yeah, that's what you all have to look forward to. I also remember teasing a video known as Defunct Tubers, the YouTubers who just stopped. I tried to get that script off the ground, but I wasn't really proud of how I did it, and overall I think that idea is still on hold. It's kinda sad really, because I've had this idea for years and I've really been wanting to do it, but who knows, maybe that video will come out at a later date. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about future projects. I think I've been a lot more focused on what I want to do compared to the last 2 years, which were comparatively more like crapshoots. I also think I found a pretty good balance between life and hobbies this year, and I think I'll be more productive on both ends considering I finally figured out the puzzle. But yeah, I think I'll end this right now because I don't really have much to say really. 2024 has been a pretty great year for me, all things considered. And 2025 is looking to continue from there, so I'm going to be pretty excited for that too. But yeah, now that the video is over, well, you know what to do. The people who watch these are probably regular viewers anyway, so I don't need to tell them what to do. But if you really want to support me financially, Patreon's the main way to do it. Anyways, see y'all next video. Goodbye.